Hey everyone, welcome back to another deep dive.
Always a pleasure to be back.
Today we're tackling a quote that's been kind of swirling around in my head for a while. It's from Sylvia Plath.
Ooh, Sylvia Plath, heavy hitter.
Yeah, right. It's from The Bell Jar, that semi-autobiographical novel.
Right, with Esther Greenwood.
Exactly. And the line is, if you expect nothing from somebody, you are never disappointed. Kind of bleak, don't you think?
It is pretty stark, but I think it's supposed to be. I mean, have you ever thought about how much pressure we put on ourselves and others with expectations?
Totally. Like all the time.
And Plath, she was writing from a place of, well, the novel is set in the 50s.
Oh, yeah. Very different time.
For women especially, the expectations were so limited, and I think that quote kind of reflects the feeling of being trapped by those societal pressures.
Yeah, so it's like Esther saying if she doesn't expect anything, then she can't be disappointed.
Right, it's a defense mechanism almost. But it's also a commentary on the lack of opportunity and the stifling atmosphere she was experiencing.
That makes a lot of sense. But, is that really a healthy way to live? To just expect nothing?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, it could be freeing, right? No pressure, no disappointment. But then again, how can you have joy or surprise or anything really if you don't expect anything good?
Yeah, that's true. What's the point of anything then?
Right. There's a balance somewhere, I think. You need some level of expectation to stay motivated, to strive for things. But too much expectation, especially when it's based on things outside your control, that's a recipe for disaster.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
I am the queen of setting myself up for disappointment with unrealistic expectations.
Well, think about it this way. Disappointment often comes from expecting specific outcomes, right? I expect this person to behave this way or this event to go exactly as planned.
Which is never how it goes, ever.
Exactly. But if you can shift your focus to appreciating the process, the journey, the unexpected twists and turns, you might find that the disappointment melts away a bit.
So instead of saying my friend has to do this for me, it's more about, I hope my friend can support me.
That's a great way to put it. It's about hope and understanding, not demands.
So back to Plath's quote, how can we actually apply this, in our daily lives? How can we avoid being disappointed by the people we care about?
Well, for one, communication. It's so important to communicate your needs and expectations clearly, but also to listen to the other person's needs and expectations. It's a two-way street.
For sure, you can't just be shouting your expectations at people and expecting them to just, roll over.
Exactly. It's about finding that middle ground, setting healthy boundaries, and understanding that everyone is different. Everyone has their own stuff going on.
Okay, so maybe the key takeaway here isn't about having zero expectations, but about being more mindful of what we expect and why.
Yeah, and understanding that relationships, they're about shared experiences, good and bad. The ups and downs are all part of the journey.
It's about accepting people for who they are, not who we want them to be.
Exactly. And, that kind of ties back into the bell jar, too. Esther, she was struggling to figure out who she was amidst all these expectations from society.
That's such a great point. This deep dive has really helped me see this quote in a whole new light. It's not about being a cynic. It's about being realistic and kind to ourselves and others.
Right. And you know what? I think Plath would probably agree that the journey of life is much more interesting when we're open to the unexpected.
Totally agree. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
And to our listeners, think about this. How might your life change if you shifted your focus from expecting specific outcomes to appreciating the journey itself? Until next time.